Good afternoon. Welcome, one and all. My name is Bernd Sunstead, Vice President for Advancement and a proud graduate from the class of 1977. It is my distinct pleasure to serve as today's Master of Ceremonies on this wonderfully sunny day at the installation ceremony for Rockford University's 18th President. In keeping with the dignity of this occasion, please take a moment to ensure that all mobile devices are set so as not to interrupt the proceedings. In just a moment, I will ask you to rise and remain standing from the start of our academic procession, led by Pipe Major for the City of Rockford Pipe Band Lucas Greenlee, to its conclusion by the Rockford Chamber Players Brass Quintet, to be followed then by the singing of our national anthem and the delivery of our invocation. Please rise. And now for our national anthem, performed by Rockford University's vocal collective, led by Associate Professor of Music, Tim Adams.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Please welcome to the podium Brigadier General Chaplain Stephen A. Scheich to help bless this occasion.
Friends, what a privilege it is to be here this afternoon and to help usher in this extraordinary moment for Rockford University. I invite you to join me as I pray. Loving God, with echoes of our nation's anthem still lingering in this hall, we thank you for setting before us boundless opportunities to grow, dream, create, aspire, struggle, and yearn for the realization of what our forefathers called a more perfect union. And oh, how we're so grateful for the fact that for nearly 170 years now, these ideals have been nurtured in the rock-solid classrooms, hallways, and coffee shops of this university. And as our attention turns to the inauguration of this institution's 18th president, we pray Dr. Eric Fulcomer, surrounded by a matchless faculty, staff, and student body, comes to work every day energized to address the complexity, unpredictability, and the accountability that will be his each and every day of his tenure. Grant him the wisdom of Solomon, the patience of Job, the courage of Daniel, and the faith of Abraham. And we're thankful, too, that for the Fulcomers, this is family business. Thank you for Andrea, Noah, and Anna, and for the incomparable support they give their husband and father every day. And so on behalf of Dr. Fulcomer, we pray this 18th century petition. Be thou his vision, O Lord of his heart. Not be all else to him save that thou art. Thou his best thought, by day and by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence, his light. Amen.
Please be seated. Thank you, General. The inauguration of a university president offers an opportunity for reflection as we see ourselves heir to a rich tradition of intellectual endeavor. In our case, we reach back just more than 170 years to invoke the spirit of our pioneer founders whose remarkable vision laid the groundwork for what we are fortunate to celebrate here today. Rockford itself then was still a village, not yet incorporated as a city, with barely 1,500 residents whose lives were in many cases perilous. Yet several forward-thinking families, including the Talcotts, Emersons, and Spaffords, so well represented here today by their descendants, Trustees Georgianne Hinchliffe-Eggers and Jonathan Whitlock, recognized the value of higher learning and sacrificed what they had to engender a new beginning and a chartered assurance that their daughters could be afforded the same opportunities as their sons. Today we celebrate a regeneration, another milestone accomplished, and another opportunity to reflect on how the enduring legacy of Rockford University continues to shape our community, our lives, and our world. Please now welcome Professor of Psychology, Dr. Belinda Holeben, Vice President of Academic Affairs and Provost.
Distinguished delegates and guests, family and friends of Dr. Fulcomer, trustees, alumni, faculty and staff, Rockford University students, welcome, and thank you for joining us today on this most joyous event in our university's life. Please recognize with me the distinguished members of Rockford College's platform party. Pardon me. First, President Emeritus, Dr. Robert Head. Brigadier General Scheich, who previously provided our invocation. Mayor Larry Morrissey. Dr. Lee Snyder, who will provide the special remarks from a mentor. Board of Trustees Chair, Mr. Jim Keeling. Immediate past Board of Trustees Chair, Mr. Tom Muldowney. Dr. Mary Weeks Baxter. Dr. Karen Walker. Mr. Scott Stahl, class of 2001. Mr. Kristen Newton. Associate Professor Elaine Sharp. And Mr. Bern Sunstead. We are also pleased to welcome delegates from several colleges and universities. Greetings to the members of the Rockford University faculty. And we recognize Rockford University's First Lady, Mrs. Andrea Fulcomer, and children of Dr. Fulcomer and Andrea, Noah, and Anna, who are seated here in the audience. An inauguration and installation of a new president is a truly special happening in the life of a university. This day officially marks the naming of our 18th president. We are mindful that the circumstances of this day will have an impact on our institution and our greater community for years to come. We pause also to celebrate something that many times falls too far from our consciousness as we work through our daily tasks. But not today. Today, we proudly take time to celebrate our institution, its unique and proud legacy, and the excitement we hold for the future as we install Dr. Eric W. Fulcomer as our next president. Thank you.
It is customary at inaugurations to invite representatives of the university and the greater community to come forward with words of welcome for the new president and greetings from their respective groups. On behalf of the greater Rockford community, we begin with the Honorable Larry Morrissey, Mayor of Rockford. Larry.
Good afternoon. To the Board of Trustees of Rockford University, to the faculty, staff, alumni, and students, and to the community members, family members, and friends of the university gathered here today, it is my pleasure, on behalf of the City of Rockford and the Rockford City Council, to bring greetings to this assembly and congratulations to Dr. Fulcomer on this occasion of his inauguration as the 18th president of Rockford University. The history of the city of Rockford is inextricably tied with the history of Rockford University. From our mutual founding along the banks of the Rock River in the middle of the 19th century, to the movement of the campus east as our community expanded during the middle of the 20th century, to our engagement and shared efforts today, I sincerely believe that as goes Rockford University, so goes the city of Rockford. Throughout its history, Rockford University has played a vital role in meeting the higher education needs of our citizens, in hosting athletic and cultural events and activities, in supporting local businesses, nonprofit organizations, and many community initiatives. During my time in office since 2005, it has been a distinct honor to work with and engage the students, faculty, and administration of Rockford University. We have together been through some very challenging times. Today, while those challenges, many of them certainly remained, we stand strong because we stand together. A city and a university united with a common vision of mutual prosperity. And while our shared work and shared successes have been substantial, in many ways we have only begun to tap the potential of our community partnerships with this great university. It has been a pleasure to get to know Dr. Fulcomer since his arrival on campus in 2013. In the relatively short time since his arrival, he has accomplished incredibly rigorous and successful work at the university, but equally important and impressive has been his work with the community, taking leadership positions in organizations like Alignment Rockford and Transform Rockford. In fact, while his academic and administrative background spanning over 2 decades definitely prepares him well for his responsibilities as a university president, it is his civic work and past experience as a local elected official that I believe have uniquely prepared him for the opportunities we have to build shared platforms that expand our city-university partnerships. You see, the challenges of the city of Rockford are certainly well documented. The challenges of high poverty, unemployment, crime, and poor health are well known. But with Dr. Fulcomer's leadership, vision, and experience, I truly believe what will become better known over the coming months and years ahead is a new narrative. People will know how our community and our university prospered by integrating academic programs with enriching community experiences, by building lifelong career pathways that helped us ensure higher education access for all children, and by leveraging and sharing community and university resources so that affordable, accessible, and awesome experiences are available for citizens and students alike. And while I'm saddened today that I will be leaving office next year and won't be around to work with Dr. Fulcomer as mayor, I'm even more excited and energized today knowing that Dr. Fulcomer is this university's president and is deeply committed to our community-university partnerships. So today I am proud and appreciative, certainly as Rockford's mayor, but I'm equally proud and appreciative as a citizen, as a father, and as a friend, knowing that Rockford University will be under Dr. Fulcomer's leadership for years to come. Once again, congratulations.
Representing the Rockford University student body, Kristen Newton, Student Governance Association President and Student Representative to the Board of Trustees.
On behalf of the students of Rockford University, I want to extend a thank you to the Board of Trustees, faculty, and staff for your dedication and your tireless efforts in ensuring that the students of Rockford University have a quality education. I am deeply humbled to stand before the family and friends of the Rockford University community. Even more so, I'm thrilled to be here today to welcome our new president, Dr. Eric Fulcomer. This is a time to celebrate not only our new president, but to celebrate Rockford University. A time to celebrate all the accomplishments that we have made as an institution. We celebrate another year of increasing enrollment. We celebrate the growth of our MBA and MAT programs. We celebrate the expansion of Rockford University, now representing more than 100 countries across the globe. This is a time to celebrate the history, the culture, and tradition that we have built here at Rockford University. Let us not stop there. Let us take time to acknowledge our successes, to revel in them. Let us celebrate this time of change, but let us not lose sight of our goals. Our work is not done yet. And I firmly believe that with our President Fulcomer at our helm, that we will continue to grow. We, all of us here at Rockford University, will continue to learn and to grow. Each day, we will strive to make sure that we are better today than we were yesterday. Rockford University will continue to keep pushing forward. Dr. Fulcomer, thank you for your energy, your charisma that you bring, and congratulations on being the 18th president of Rockford University.
Please welcome Dr. Karen Walker, Director of the Center for Student Success and Retention, speaking on behalf of the Rockford University staff.
Good afternoon. It is an honor for me to offer words of welcome to Dr. Eric Fulcomer and his family on behalf of the Rockford University staff. Over the 3 years you have served our campus, we have developed an appreciation for your approachable demeanor, commitment to service, and laser focus on growth. The 27th book of Proverbs instructs us that iron sharpens iron, so one man sharpens another. While your responsibilities will be great, we are committed to assisting with the growth of our institution, through our daily work. Under your inspired guidance and direction, and with the wholehearted participation of the campus community, may you lead our institution with wisdom and integrity. We welcome you, Dr. Fulcomer, to the long line of distinguished presidents that have served before you. We are dedicated to working with you so that countless generations to come can accomplish the goal of graduation from our dear Rockford University. Congratulations again, Dr. Fulcomer.
Now representing the Rockford University faculty, Dr. Mary Weeks Baxter, Professor of English, Faculty Chair, and Andrew H. Sherritt College Professor. Mary.
Good afternoon. Dr. Fulcomer, I stand before you today as chair of the Rockford University faculty to offer greetings as you begin your tenure as president of Rockford University. It is with great pride that I represent my colleagues and extend best wishes to you and your family. As a faculty, we are a diverse group representing a multiplicity of disciplines and backgrounds. We come from all parts of the United States and other parts of the world. But we are here at Rockford University because we share a commitment to an educational experience for our students that is grounded in the liberal arts tradition, because we value not the large lecture room model of teaching, but a classroom setting where students work closely with their professors. because here at Rockford, we are part of an educational community that commits to preparing our students to make a difference in the world they enter after they graduate. We know that you share these commitments. You come from a liberal arts background, and you encourage students to follow those passions as you yourself followed your passion by choosing an English major. And I might add, as a member of the English department, I believe you made a very wise decision. We know, too, that you've described liberal arts as providing students with essential skills to be active citizens. And you've already been instrumental in bringing that message to potential students and have headed up efforts for us to reach record enrollment numbers. And you model for our students what it means to be civically engaged as you work for the betterment of our community and organizations such as Alignment Rockford and Transform Rockford. Today, as our new president, you join a distinguished list of women and men who have headed up our institution. Throughout Rockford University's history, our leaders have been a driving force in shaping Rockford University into what it is today. They have left their marks, left their legacies for the future. Dr. Fulcomer, we look forward to working with you as you build your legacy, as you make your mark. Best wishes from the Rockford University faculty as you begin your tenure as the next president of our institution. Thank you.
To speak on behalf of the Board of Trustees, please welcome Mr. Thomas Muldowney, class of 1974, and immediate past chair of the Rockford University Board of Trustees. Tom.
Good afternoon. Trees are not just cut down for exercise. Those trees, when harvested and crafted, provide heat, shelter, comfort for our human family. Typically what happens is one generation plants the trees and another generation gets the fruit and the shade and another gets the benefit of the harvest. Our President Emeritus, Dr. Robert Head, left our university in good shape. He, with the help of many, planted trees. I'm here today representing the Board of Trustees and to provide that hearty welcome to Dr. Fulcomer and his families. You have met this first family, Andrea, Noah, and Anna. But if you look around, you will see President Fulcomer's adopted family. This is Rockford University. In August, Eric opened the Rockford University academic year by referring to new beginnings. Every year, every month, every day, every hour marks a new beginning. Today is one of those beginnings. It was with an immense investment of knowledge, wisdom, and time that the Rockford University Presidential Search Committee, headed by Chairman James Killing, presented and recommended to the board Dr. Fulcomer as the 18th president of Rockford University. The board unanimously voted in agreement. The selection was made with celebration and responsibility to our university and to my alma mater. Formal education is uniquely a human effort. Education brings together all of those experiences of prior generations. With education, students can free themselves from the cocoon of their own homespun habits and notions, keeping what is good, learning from the experiences of others, and exploring the vistas of new challenges. And yes, that means we can learn from the mistakes of others without having to make those mistakes ourselves. You've also probably learned that if someone wants to learn to drive, you should not stand in the way. Let us not stand in the way. In fact, Dr. Fulcomer, we stand with you. We stand behind you. We stand by your side. Welcome, and I invite you to call on us as you set out to plant new trees.
For those of you who know me, I'm not immune to being an idiot from time to time. I have skipped over our Alumni Association president, but I suppose it was subconsciously on purpose because I represent the alumni. But here is Scott Stoll, representing 15,600 purple people from around the globe. Class of 2001, president of the Rockford University Alumni Association.
Good afternoon, everyone. What a wonderful day it is for us to be here celebrating and welcoming Dr. Fulcomer on the beautiful campus of Rockford University. And from what I hear, they're even having a parade for him about an hour east of here. So I want to thank everyone involved in allowing me to come and welcome Dr. Fulcomer on behalf of the entire Alumni Association Board and our many alumni across the world. I've had many thoughts about what my topic should be as I found myself preparing for this speech. Of course, as a marketing major and a marketing professional, our type tends to over-sensationalize and get excessively creative about every little detail. But so I didn't want to talk about something as, I guess, common as leadership is talked about. However, as I thought about the opportunities that I've had to speak with Dr. Fulcomer and hear him speak as well, my ongoing impression and voice inside my head just kept saying, man, this guy is a leader. So naturally, leadership stayed with me throughout. Sir Isaac Newton once said, I have seen further because I have stood on the shoulders of giants. This happens to be one of my very favorite quotes ever since high school, and allows me to stay humble and remember those that have helped along my journey. Dr. Fulcomer is only the 18th president of this long-standing institution, and knowing how many years this school has been around, it seems to me that the trustees know what they're doing when it comes to appointing presidents, and they've done it once again with Dr. Fulcomer. Rockford University has had its shares of ups and downs throughout the years, but there have always been those presidents who have seen that we persevere through the tough times and that we celebrate the amazing times. As a young man, myself, at about 17 or 18, when I came to then Rockford College, I struggled in my academics. I struggled at times to not necessarily settle into the college life, maybe socially at some times, but my academics certainly did not help with the socialization at times. But I truly believe that if it were not for the professors and advisors to help guide me through and show me what I could achieve, I would not be where I am today. I attribute having that support system to university president at that time, Dr. William Shields, because my belief in running my own business today is that leadership starts from the top and it radiates to all who are involved. As the saying goes, a leader knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way. There have been many giants prior to Dr. Fulcomer. One is sitting with us today, and Dr. Head. And I know that these will serve as a guiding light for Dr. Fulcomer in the years to come. And I can see in Dr. Fulcomer, he is a person who will cement himself in Rockford University history as a giant himself for all future presidents. And of course, I've said a few quotes here, so it's common knowledge now that I like quotes. But I live around the Springfield, Illinois area, and of course we have an election coming up from what I hear. So I decided to conclude my speech here with a quote from Abraham Lincoln, which he says, "Give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, and I will spend the first 4 sharpening my axe." Dr. Fulcomer, your axe is sharp, and we look forward to everything you will bring to this university, as well as to its current and future alumni. Thank you very much, and have a wonderful afternoon.
amazing day.
For the leaping green, these spirits of trees,
And the blue, true dream of sky.
and for everything which is natural,
Which is infinite, which is yes. I who have died am alive again today.
and this is the Son's birthday.
This is the birthday of life and of love and wings, and of the gay, great happening illimitably earth.
How should tasting,
Tasting,
touching,
hearing,
seeing,
seeing,
breathing,
and be lifted from the know of all nothing, human merely being doubt unimaginable you. Now the ears of my ears awake, and now the eyes of my eyes are opened.
Thank you, Professor Adams and students, for that beautiful selection. Dr. Lee Snyder, longtime friend and mentor of Dr. Fulcomer, is with us today to offer special remarks of clarity and support. Dr. Snyder is currently serving as the interim president of Eastern Mennonite University in Harrisonburg, Virginia. Dr. Snyder.
President Fulcomer, President Head, Chairman Keeling, and the Board of Trustees, distinguished guests, faculty and staff, students, and alumni. It is a great honor indeed to be invited to join you in the inaugural ceremonies for Rockford University and for my colleague and friend, President Eric Fulcomer. When my husband Dale and I drove up to the campus today, here for the first time, it took me back to the day I met President Fulcomer in the fall of 1995. I was coming to Bluffton College for a final interview for the presidency, to meet the full board of trustees, and to see if I passed muster with the faculty. There, outside the Marbeck Center, where the board was meeting, was a sign, "Welcome Lee Snyder." I was surprised. It was unexpected. I was struck by the attention to detail that was a part of the welcome that entire weekend. Why do I tell you this story? Because one of the persons who stands out in the blur of strangers that I met that November was Eric Fulcomer. Back then, he was just Eric, introduced to me as the director of the Student Center. He was overseeing a host of things that needed to be done on a weekend when not only the Board of Trustees was meeting, but when a new president was being announced. Eric's ability to manage many things to ensure a warm welcome to a visitor made an enormous impression on me, a first impression, which was only strengthened during the decade during which Dr. Fulcomer stepped up to roles of more and more responsibility as a member of the president's team. Eric was always up to the task, whether it was giving leadership to his division, dealing with a budget challenge or tough personnel decision, tackling a new initiative, or rising to the moment in a campus crisis, such as was the Residence Hall fire one September morning. It has been said that there is a rhythm to great institutions. In an academic setting, we see that most clearly in the ceremonies, which mark the beginning and ending of the year, welcoming a new class, and then the commencement rituals. But there is a larger pulsing rhythm to institutions such as Rockford University, now in its 169th year, marked notably by presidential transitions. This is a time to pause, to honor the rich legacy of this institution, and to recognize the leaders who have built this wonderful university, and to embrace the possibilities which lie ahead. This is not an easy time for higher education. The pace of change is dizzying, and change is not always comfortable. These days, many of us, at least persons in my generation, are just trying to navigate the maze of technology. Twitter, Yik Yak, Instagram, Facebook, FaceTime, Skype, Zoom, podcasts, earbuds, and smartphones. Then there is the 24-hour news cycle, which numbs us to the heartbreaking realities of personal tragedies and natural disasters, violence, and human desperation. The needs are great in our own communities as well. Societal and market realities include demographic shifts. That is, the fact that there is a reduction in absolute terms of the number of persons coming through high school and going on to college. Innovations in delivery of educational programming can be both positive and negative, but increased competition is a reality for the small private college. Other challenges across the U.S. have to do with civility and seeking the common good. In large and small ways, it is on small liberal arts campuses, such as this one, where I have observed some of the most creative. It is a commitment of high purpose, which will prepare our students to make a difference around the world. This summer, I asked one of our graduates what message she would have me tell the faculty as she heads off to graduate school. Nora, an committee of 30,000 college graduates across the U.S., was interested in understanding better the ultimate outcome of a college degree. We know students and parents see the value of college in increasing the probability of getting a good job and having a better life. But this research was interested in how college contributes to what the study described as great lives of well-being. And the study defines well-being in these 6 areas: purpose, liking what you do; financial well-being, effectively managing your economic life; social well-being, having strong, supportive relationships in your life; community well-being, so a sense of engagement with where you live and feeling pride in where you live; and physical well-being, having good health and enough energy to get things done. And then the study asks, what experiences in college promote a well-lived life? The findings reveal that there are 6 key factors. If graduates had a professor who cared about them as a person was the first; 2, who helped excite them about learning; 3rd, who encouraged them to pursue their dreams. If they had these experiences, their odds of thriving after college were significantly increased. Then 4th, if the graduate was engaged as a student in an internship or in a job where they were able to apply what they were learning in the classroom, that was also a key factor. If a student was actively involved in extracurricular activities and organizations, and if they had a project which lasted at least a semester, their odds of being engaged later in the workplace were doubled. Well, that doesn't really surprise us, does it? We know, as the Gallup-Purdue study concludes, that feeling supported and having deep learning experiences means everything when it comes to long-term outcomes for college graduates. I've talked about students because that's, after all, what we're about. But I want to conclude with just a word about leadership. And here I'm thinking of university boards, as well as the president and the executive team. As leaders, we're always looking ahead. We take risks. We are inspired by possibility. However, we must balance possibility with responsibility in the face of present conditions. Professor Anne McMill, University of Chicago, has a marvelous way of clarifying our tasks. She says leadership is about possibility. Stewardship is also a part of that. It's about a moment in time, and it's about responsibility. We must be both humble and fearless in our work, anchored in the present realities, but not dimmed in our dreams and commitments to future opportunities. So today we celebrate, as you've heard a number of the platform party say. We celebrate, not only honoring President Fulcomer and a new chapter in Rockford's history, but this is also a celebration of higher education and what the liberal arts and sciences contribute in ways that transform lives and call society to a nobler purpose. In conclusion, I have just a few instructions for President Fulcomer. These from Eric's mentor, the late Dr. Donald Schweingruber, from an old green Pathways to Leadership memo I found in my file. This is hard and tough. You be hard and tough. If you want fame and glory, be an astronaut. If you want personal satisfaction about a job well done, you are in the right place. Great things happen when you're not concerned about who is getting the credit. There never was or will be any substitute for hard work. If somebody does something well, tell them or hug them. I think Dr. Schweingruber actually borrowed those lines, those instructions from one of our football coaches. Is that right, Eric? Not bad advice for a new president. Congratulations, Eric, Dr. Fulcomer, and now President Fulcomer.
Board of Trustee Chair Jim Keeling will now present the charge to Dr. Fulcomer. Dr. Fulcomer, please join Mr. Keeling at the podium.
It's a great privilege for me to be here today conferring Rockford University's highest office on you. I currently serve Rockford University as board chair. Last year, as vice chair of the board, I was honored to lead the presidential search and the presidential selection committees. Our selection process was thorough. It involved representatives of all Rockford University constituencies, as well as the Rockford community. After a period of defining self-reflection about the future of the university, we embraced broad inclusion and launched a national search for a new president, expecting that the Board of Trustees would ultimately select the best candidate, and we were so happy that we found our candidate and our new president right here in Rockford, already here. Dr. Fulcomer was already serving us for the past 3 years as our Vice President of Enrollment Management, and we feel that the Board of Trustees has made an excellent selection in selecting Dr. Fulcomer. I've been asked what are some of the key leadership attributes that Dr. Fulcomer brings to this position to help us continue our period of great awakening and growth at this institution as we strive for our unlimited potential. I can highlight just a few today. They are that you are open, you're energetic, you're enthusiastic. You're a team player, Eric. Most importantly, you are committed to the key components of our mission and implementation of the strategic plan grounded in liberal arts tradition and in the shared belief that Rockford University prepares its students and stakeholders for fulfilling lives, for fulfilling careers, and participation as leaders in our modern and changing global society. All statements from the mission statement. Dr. Eric Fulcomer, by the virtue of the authority of the Rockford University Board of Trustees, I commit to you the Charter of the University, which represents your responsibilities to our history, our legacies, and our values as an institution steeped in the tradition of liberal arts learning. We present you also, that's supposed to ring it, with this bell, first rung by Anna Peck Sill, Rockford Female Seminary's first principal. Each time you take this in hand and raise your arm to ring, May it resonate with you, not only in its notable sound, but in the spirit it represents, reminding you of the power of the generations that have passed and of those that are yet to come. Is the bell? And finally, the President's chain of office I now place over your shoulders and to be worn at honors convocations, commencements, and other important ceremonial occasions. Its weight is a reminder of the heavy responsibilities that must be willingly carried by all who occupy positions of leadership. Its design includes our university seal, the Decus, representing our long and distinguished history, and that will now intersect with your own legacy. Dr. Eric Fulcomer, you have been duly presented to serve as president of Rockford University. It is my great pleasure as chair of the Rockford University Board of Trustees to install you in that office with all of its requisite rights, privileges, and responsibilities. By accepting these items, you accept the charge to serve with diligence, dedication, energy, vision, and integrity as you carry out the duties of the president of Rockford University. Ladies and gentlemen, I now present to you Rockford University's 18th president, Dr. Eric W. Fulcomer.
They said I was supposed to say something, so I guess we'll have to sit down. Thank you, Jim. I really appreciate your remarks, and thank you to everyone who has spoken so far. I am truly humbled by the opportunity to serve as president of this wonderful institution. As I have said on more than a few recent occasions, serving as president of Rockford University is the greatest professional honor of my life. And I thank each and every, I'm going to get through this today, and I thank each and every one of you for being here today for this installation ceremony. As I stand here this afternoon, I am well aware that I do so only because of the love, friendship, mentorship, and support of many people. Several of you in this room today have helped me get to where I am today and have worked with me along my path. Friends and relatives from my youth in Beaver Creek, Ohio are here, as are friends, mentors, and coworkers from Bluffton, Ohio, where I met Andrea, got married, started a family, and built a career in higher education and public service. And of course, many friends and coworkers are here today that I have met during my 3.5 years in Rockford, a community for which I have developed a deep appreciation and affection. While it's a bit risky to do so, I want to acknowledge and thank some individuals and small groups for being here today. The danger, of course, is that I'll forget to mention someone or a group of people. I'm sure I will, and I'll just ask for your grace when this inevitably occurs. And for this, I'm going to ask that the house lights come up for a few minutes. Over my 23-year career in higher education, I have been fortunate to be supervised by 4 excellent individuals, all of whom are represented here today. 3 are here in person, and 1, I believe, is here in spirit. Let me take them in order. The first is Don Schweingruber. Don was a champion in my life. Regrettably, he passed away just over a year ago. Some of you knew him, many of you have heard me talk about him, and perhaps others have read some of what I've written about him since I've been in Rockford. I learned volumes from Don, including the value and importance of relationships. He also taught me how to work with students. Don and I often talked about my desire to become a college president. In fact, for years, we had lunch together at least once a month off campus. And I promised him that I would save him a front row seat I practiced this many times. It was fine. I promised him a front row seat at my inauguration. His seat is right over here to my left, and his wife, Nancy, is here today. Thank you, Nancy. I'm very happy that you're here. A second mentor and supervisor you've already met, Lee Snyder. Lee, thank you for speaking today. Lee was president, as you know, of Bluffton University for 10 years. When she arrived, I was in my first professional job just out of graduate school. When she retired, I was vice president for enrollment management and student life. These things are related. One of the many lessons that I learned from Lee is the importance of recognizing talents in others and giving individuals opportunities for professional growth. Lee is wonderful at that, and I am grateful for the opportunities that she gave me. Lee, thank you for participating today. I'm very glad that you're here. My third mentor is out among the delegates, and I can see you there in your Notre Dame wear. Jim Harder is the current president of Bluffton University. I worked with Jim for many years as a fellow vice president before he succeeded Lee. I learned much from Jim during the decade that we worked together. One thing that I'll mention today is that he taught me how to lead with grace during times of crisis. Jim was faced with a major institutional tragedy in the first year of his presidency, and he showed great leadership and courage as he helped us navigate through a most difficult time. Thank you, Jim, for being here today and for representing Bluffton University, an institution that means so much to me and to my family. My final mentor and supervisor is behind me on the platform. I met Robert Head in 2012, but I knew of him for many years before that. He has a respected reputation as a college leader, and I was attracted to Rockford University because of him. Robert agreed to prepare me for a college presidency when I arrived in 2013, though neither of us could have known at that time that I would eventually succeed him. Robert's willingness to share his wisdom and lessons learned during his 2 presidencies has benefited me greatly. I am thankful to have worked beside him for 3 years before becoming president myself. One of the many things that I've learned from Robert is the importance of telling the story of the institution to others. I listened to him speak publicly many times as he regularly and masterfully conveyed the rich history of this institution to groups. Robert, thank you for being here today, for being on the platform, and for your ongoing support. Let me thank the others on the platform this afternoon. Steve Scheich has been a friend since my youth. He was a great support to me in my early high school years when he served as a youth pastor. I have many memories of Steve. One that I'll share is that he is responsible for one of my bad habits. I'll explain. He picked me up many times and took me to a men's breakfast before school. It was there that I started drinking coffee, an addiction that has consumed me for more than 30 years. Steve, the coffee industry is grateful that we met, and so am I. Thank you for taking time from a busy schedule at the Pentagon to be here and to participate in this service. Belinda Holobin and Bern Sunstead are 2 of the vice presidents with whom I have the honor to work. Both have been at the institution for 23 years, Bern primarily in staff roles and Belinda as a member of the faculty. We benefit greatly from your institutional history and knowledge, and I thank you for participating in the ceremony today. But I will not forget about the other 2 vice presidents who I can see out in the audience. Let me pause from my recognition of the platform party to recognize Tina Anderson and Matt Phillips, both of whom have worked here for more than a decade and bring great skills to their roles as vice president. Thank you, Tina and Matt, for your service to this university and for your presence today. To those who offered greetings, Mayor Morrissey, Kristen Newton, Karen Walker, Mary Weeks Baxter, Scott Stoll, and Thomas Muldowney, thank you for participating today. You each represent important groups of people in the life of the institution, and I am grateful for your presence and participation. I also want to thank Elaine Sharp, who will offer the benediction. Elaine served as campus minister for Rockford College for many years before joining the faculty. Today, Elaine continues to serve in her unofficial role as campus minister, offering prayers at important campus events. Elaine, thank you for serving in this important role at Rockford University and for participating today. Last of those on the platform, but certainly not least, is Chair of the Board, Jim Keeling. As you know, he chaired the Presidential Search Committee responsible for my recommendation to the Board of Trustees. Jim, I appreciate the many ways that you serve our institution and our community. I have the honor to work closely with you on university business, and I thank you for chairing the group that selected me, for leading the group that governs our institution, and for installing me today as the 18th president. To the distinguished delegates who represent other colleges and universities, thank you for being here. Many of you are friends representing institutions near and far. I am particularly pleased to have representatives from each of my alma maters, Eastern Michigan University, Bowling Green State University, and the University of Toledo. All of the delegates are an important reminder that Rockford University is part of a larger community of scholars. To my colleagues on the Rockford University Board of Trustees, past and present, thank you for giving of your time, talents, and treasure to support this wonderful institution. I am grateful that you've given me the opportunity to serve our university. To my colleagues who serve as members of the faculty and staff, I continue to marvel at the many ways that you support our students in and out of the classroom. Special thanks to those who participated this morning in the academic showcases. I am honored to serve with you, and thank you for being here today. A special thanks to the members of the Inaugural Planning Committee. Their names are listed on the last page of the program. I am grateful for the many hours that you have put into making today a day to remember. Special thanks to the committee chair and member of the President's Office staff, Teddy Phillips. Teddy told me that she put more time into planning this event than she did her own wedding. Having watched her work over the last 3 months, I believe her. Thanks also to the other member of the President's Office staff, Brenda Peroni, for her efforts to make today a wonderful day for Rockford University. Let's thank the committee and Teddy and Brenda. Thank you to our students for your presence today. You are, as we have said previously, the reason that we exist. I have enjoyed interacting with many of you and appreciate all of you for being here today. Special thanks to those who participated in this morning's showcases, to the members of the vocal collective for singing, and to their director, Professor Tim Adams, to student leaders for processing, and to our international students for carrying in flags representing your home countries. Thanks to all of you. To our alumni and friends, I have enjoyed meeting you and interacting with you during my short time at Rockford University. I love hearing your stories about this institution. Your presence here is very much appreciated. To Ronnie and Diana Thomas, good friends who are like a second set of parents to me and bonus grandparents to Noah and Anna. This is where it's going to get hard, people, so just prepare yourselves. Thank you for your ongoing love, friendship, and support. I want to offer special thanks to all of those joining us today from Bluffton University and from the Bluffton, Ohio community. Bluffton is such a special place to me and my family, and I am greatly honored that so many of you made the trip to Rockford. If you work or have worked at Bluffton University, or you live in or around Bluffton, would you please stand? I want to see how many of you are here today. Thank you for being here. And finally, special words of gratitude to my family. First, my sister Amy, brother-in-law Roy, and nieces, you're doing great, by the way, Katie and Courtney. It means so much to have you here today. I was sharing with my sister earlier, there were times when we were growing up that my sister would not have walked across the street to attend an event in my honor. So I really appreciate that you drove 7 hours to be here, so thank you. Some of you have siblings too, I guess. To my parents, my mother, Debbie Corcoran, and my father and stepmother, Bill and Lisa Fulcomer, I literally would not be here today without you. I'm not going to look at you, but I'll keep talking. Mom and Dad, I am grateful for your love and support and for making sure that Amy and I earned college degrees, even though you didn't have the opportunity to attend college yourselves. I would not have imagined as a child that I would be where I am today and that my journey would take me on this path, but I thank you for helping me to get here. To my children, Noah and Anna, you bring great joy to my life most days. And I am always proud to be your dad. Thanks for keeping me grounded and reminding me that life is more than work. Finally, to my wife and life's partner, Andrea. We met on Bluffton University's campus 23 years ago this fall and first got to know each other on Don and Nancy Schweingruber's back porch. Your undying love, encouragement, and support makes it possible for me to do what I do. There is a quote attributed to author Henry James that sums up how I and others see you. He wrote, "There are only 3 things important in life. The first is to be kind. The second is to be kind. And the third is to be kind." Andrea, you are a kind and compassionate person, and I cannot imagine a better partner with whom to do life together. Thank you. Today, in this inaugural address, I plan to acknowledge the history of this venerable institution and the sacrifices that have been made in order for us to be here today. Additionally, I want to introduce the concept of the knowledge age at which we currently find ourselves, outlining how Rockford University is positioned to thrive in the 21st century. Over the years, our institution has been known by several names: Rockford Female Seminary, Rockford College, Rockford Men's College, and Rockford University. Let's go back to the beginning. For this section, I'm heavily relying on a book published in 1980 entitled Rockford College, A Retrospective Look, and on the knowledge gleaned from our resident historian, Bernd Sundstedt, Vice President for Advancement. Reverend Eritus Kent, brother of the city's founder, Germanicus Kent, was a Presbyterian minister who graduated from Yale and attended Princeton Theological Seminary. He responded to a call for missionaries to the wilds of the West, that's where we are, and came to Northern Illinois in 1829. Over time, the need for educational institutions in this region led to a decision that a college for men should be founded in southern Wisconsin and that a female seminary in northern Illinois. In 1845, Presbyterian and Congregational ministers, along with other leaders in the area, selected Beloit as the college location in 1845. The charter for Beloit College, and I'll note they are represented today among the delegates, was approved in February of 1846, and after considering several sites for the female seminary, including Rockton, Belvedere, Elgin, and Freeport, a charter for Rockford Female Seminary was drawn in 1847. Eritus Kent and Rockford resident Waite Talcott were charged with the development of both institutions. Once the seminary charge was secured, though there were no funds, does that sound familiar? The founders went out to find someone who would lead our fledgling institution. Thankfully, they selected Anna Peck Sill, an intrepid, well-educated young woman from the East, to serve as our first president, or principal, as she was called. Classes were held in an old courthouse, itself an abandoned horse barn. But Annapexville was able to raise funds and begin the construction of a proper seminary on the east bank of the Rock River. The campus grew in location, in academic reputation, and in enrollment for many years. In 1890, after having granted bachelor's degrees for nearly a decade, a decision was made to offer a full college course. And in 1892, during the presidency of Sarah Anderson, the seminary legally changed its name to Rockford College. Skipping ahead to the late 1920s, through the efforts of alumna Blanche Walker Burpee, farmland was acquired several miles east of the Rock River, land on which I stand today. In 1929, President William Arthur Maddox was quoted as saying, "An adequate plant of architectural beauty will rise someday on the new ground secured for the college." And indeed, plans for a beautiful campus with Georgian architecture was developed. Then the stock market crashed, and plans for that new campus were put on hold for what would be decades. In the 1950s, men were added to our campus, first enrolled in a separate Rockford Men's College. Later, the college became co-ed. In the 1960s, the present campus began to take shape on the land that had been acquired in 1928. Over the nearly 170 years that our institution has been in existence, we've faced many challenges. Just think with me for a moment about the national and global crises that have occurred during this time period. The Civil War, the Spanish-American War, 2 world wars, Korea, Vietnam, the Gulf War, and the War on Terror, just to name a few. We also survived the Great Depression, numerous recessions, and many periods of low enrollment. Through every challenge, even in dire times, the university's loyal supporters have come forth and made sure that this college survived because they believed, as I do, that this institution is important to Rockford, to our region, and to the landscape of higher education. We stand today on a foundation that has been laid and strengthened by alumni, trustees, faculty and staff, and friends. We are where we are today because of the hard work of others. And I am fully aware that as the 18th president, taking over the leadership of an institution in good financial health and with record enrollments, that I follow 9 women and 8 men who have served as president before me, including President Robert Head, who joins me on stage. These individuals have guided us through times of want and times of plenty, and I am thankful. Now, what about our nation's recent transition to the knowledge age? Over the course of American history, we have gone through several ages. Historians differ on the exact dates of these ages, but generally speaking, we started out as an agrarian society, and that lasted until the late 1880s with the onset of the industrial age. Sometime in the latter part of the 20th century, we morphed into an information age, and recently we have transitioned into what some are calling the knowledge age. I thank Joanne Soliday, co-founder of Credo Higher Education and lead author of Surviving to Thriving, for first introducing me to the concept of the knowledge age. I think that our evolution from an agrarian society to industry is widely understood as urbanization and manufacturing changed our country. The shift to an information age was evidenced by a changing workforce. By 1970, less than a third of the U.S. workforce was employed in agriculture or industry. Today, more than 85% of our workforce is engaged in the information and/or service industries. The transition from information to knowledge, however, is more subtle, perhaps definitional. The New Zealand Council for Educational Research has helped me understand this transition. The Council posits that we are in a new form of capitalism, where knowledge and ideas are the main source of economic growth. We might say that in the information age, we were satisfied to know things and have them stored in our minds. Information we gleaned from books and lectures. In the knowledge age, we still have to have access to this information. However, possession itself is not sufficient. We have to use it, to develop it, and to change it. Knowledge is a form of energy, a system of networks and flows defined and valued not for what it is, but for what it can do. The National Governors Association put it this way: the driving force behind the 21st century economy is knowledge, and developing human capital, that is, people, is the best way to ensure prosperity. The governors recognize the value of education in preparing students for the knowledge economy. So in the agrarian age, we needed to know how to do things. This did not necessarily require formal education. The industrial age, rather, called for knowing what. This did require some formal instruction, and our current system of education was founded on this principle. In the knowledge age, we need to know more than know what kinds of knowledge. We need to do things with this knowledge and to use it to create new knowledge. We are living in a new age, an age in which having information is simply not enough. So, if we are now living in a knowledge age where knowledge is a form of energy, where it is not enough to simply know things, but we need to know how to use what we've learned to create new knowledge, what does this mean for us in the academy? Well, one important thing that it means, and I think this is very exciting, is that this is the age of the liberal arts. If the greatest asset of a worker in this current age is to create new knowledge, how better to do this than to learn how to learn, which is a key part of the liberal arts. To take critical thinking skills and apply those skills to life's challenges. In declaring that this is the age of the liberal arts, I'm not discounting the relevance of the liberal arts institution of the past. In fact, I believe that the liberal arts is and has always been the very best of what American higher education has to offer. Liberal arts, simply defined, is exposure to a set of subjects that provide the essential knowledge needed to be an active participant in civil life. An education that prepares students to write, learn, think, and analyze is vitally important in a free society. This was important when Harvard was founded in 1636, and it is important today. But there have been critics of the liberal arts. Early on, individuals such as Thomas Jefferson and Ben Franklin called for a more practical education. Now, to be fair, they weren't talking about vocational education as we understand it today, but rather a move away from Latin and Greek to the study of modern languages. But for more than 150 years, there have been those pushing us to focus on practical and vocational education, often to the exclusion of the liberal arts. With the passage of the Morrill Act in 1862, the act which established land-grant institutions, colleges started instituting vocational training into their programs. Since that time, there has been an ebb and flow of public sentiment regarding the purpose of education, often reacting to economic factors, particularly in times of recession. And since the end of World War II, some 70 years ago, the push for practical education has steadily gained momentum. But today, in the knowledge age, the line between practical education and liberal arts is blurring. In fact, it is practical to be able to think critically and to improve on existing ideas. Schools like Rockford University have been blurring these lines for decades. Our mission statement reads, in part, to educate men and women to lead responsible lives by means of a curriculum grounded in the liberal arts learning and complemented by professional and practical experience. Our curriculum is indeed grounded in the liberal arts, and our mission is to prepare students to lead responsible and fulfilling lives, which includes vocation, along with participation in the global society. At Rockford, we give students an opportunity to take coursework in the major of their choice, whether that be nursing, English, education, psychology, or business. But all students also have exposure to a liberal arts education, one that prepares them to write, to think, to learn. This, in my mind, is the perfect blend of practical and liberal arts learning. Who knows what advances will occur over the next decade or two that will reshape the occupational landscape. We need to prepare students for the known and the unknown. And as a liberal arts university, we are doing just that. And we are, in my mind, perfectly positioned in the age of knowledge. In closing my talk this afternoon, I'd like to share 5 thoughts and beliefs that I have about higher education that will guide me as I work with you to shape the future of Rockford University. First, related to the topic of the liberal arts, I believe that we do a disservice to our students if we only prepare them for their first job. It's been suggested that people entering the job market will change jobs 8 to 12 times in their lifetime and careers 3 to 5 times. Given this reality, I believe that it would be irresponsible of us to simply prepare students for one specific profession without providing a more general education that will prepare them for the twists and turns in their lives. Second, I believe that an education can never be wasted. Sometimes you'll hear someone say that they're not using their degree. What they really mean is that they're working outside of their major. But I believe that an important aspect of higher education is to prepare students for lifelong learning. In this view, a wasted education is an oxymoron. Third, I believe that education is both a public and a private good. I'm often perplexed by those who argue that the benefits of an education are all private, meaning that there are no societal benefits and the cost should therefore be borne wholly by the student and or supporting family. Conversely, I'm equally perplexed by those who argue that a college education should be free without any investment by the student. There are both personal and societal benefits to higher education, both tangible and intangible. It is my responsibility as a university leader to make this case to those outside the academy. Fourth, I believe it is vitally important that we prepare students for a global society. I am so pleased that our international students led the procession this afternoon. It means a great deal to me and to our institution to have students from around the world. These students add to our campus community, helping those of us raised in the United States to better understand the world in which we live. And the international students learn from us about American culture. It is an exchange of ideas. I also value the opportunity to send our American students abroad for short and longer-term study experiences. Having led these types of programs, I know firsthand how valuable it is for students to spend time in another culture. I trust that we will continue to find ways to give more of our students the opportunity to study abroad as part of their educational experience. Fifth, I believe that educational partnerships are the wave of the future. Our recently inked agreement with the Rockford Public Schools is a great example. When the program is fully implemented, we will have 80 students from RPS enrolled in our undergraduate teacher education program. These students will benefit fully from a liberal arts education at Rockford University while also becoming prepared to teach in the Rockford Public Schools. Upon graduation, these students will return to their school district to teach and will enroll here in a graduate program in urban education. There will be more of these types of partnerships. I leave you this afternoon, as I started my address, focused on our history with a quote from our first president, Anna Peck-Sill. She said, "This institution has a history which is sacred, whether or not appreciated, or whatever may be its future." When I look at her large portrait in the Forest Cool Lounge, which I often do, I think that if she could speak, she'd first wonder what all these men are doing here and what I'm doing in the president's seat. And while I don't believe that she would have imagined the Rockford University of today, I hope that she would be pleased with our ongoing commitment to educating students for life, vocation, and participation in a modern and changing global society. We have work to do as we build on the legacy of our first 169 years. It will be important work, hard work, fun at times, and I trust that in the end, it will all be worth it. In honor of Anna Peck-Sill, I'll ring this. Let's get started.
That concludes today's ceremony. Please stand for the benediction provided by Associate Professor of Psychology Elaine Sharp. Professor Sharp.
Let us pray. God of many names, as we close this time, we ask your special blessing upon each of us. We ask you to bless Andrea, Noah, and Anna with energy, patience, and understanding as they support their spouse and father in his leadership of Rockford University, while they too carve their place in the history of our fine institution. We ask you to bless our students, faculty, administrators, staff, trustees, alumni, and all members of our Rockford University community with perseverance to work alongside Dr. Fulcomer for continued growth of the university and our world in ways that are good and life-giving. As co-authors of our future, guide us and Dr. Fulcomer in ways that honor the dignity, needs, and rights of each person we encounter as we strive to grow as individuals and a community. We thank you for the gift of Dr. Eric Fulcomer. You have placed in his heart the desire to share his gifts with us as he now leads our Rockford University. Infuse him with the wisdom of our ancestors that he might echo their passion for education and service. Bless him with eyes that see the truth and a heart that hears the words that so often remain unspoken. Grant him courage to lead us through difficult decisions and peace of mind at the end of each day, knowing he has acted with integrity that respects the dignity of all who surround him. May he feel the support of his colleagues, families, friends, and mentors in the darkest moments and celebrate with them achievements large and small as he works alongside us to create a future for Rockford University as rich in possibilities as has been the legacy left by those who precede us. And finally, Divine One, as we close this celebration, may we recognize that it is not only a beginning, but a continuation of our rich tradition and sacred call to carry on the values of our ancestors to work relentlessly for civility, education, and justice for all your people. Be with us this day and all of our days to come. Amen.
At this time, you are invited to join in singing our university song, Decus et Veritas, printed on the center fold of your programs, led by Professor Adams. Please remain standing for the recessional, and everyone is then invited to join us for a reception in Regents Hall, located in the Blanche Walker Burpee Center. Thank you all for attending today as we witness this historic day for the inauguration of Dr. Eric W. Fulcomer. Professor Adams.
Our strong bond shall ne'er be broken, formed at dear are you. Take we now a pledge unspoken, to thee will be true. Rockford Decus et Veritas, deep graven on each heart, will be fond, unwavering, true, till we from life must part.